Okay. We're good, Ken? Okay, thanks. And welcome to everyone to the April meeting of the Committee of Adjustment for the town of Tecumseh. Yes, please. And welcome you all here. Hope you all voted today. And so we'll start out with roll call. Paul Jobin is not going to be with us this evening. Call the meeting to order. Is there any pecuniary interest from any members? No, none. Minutes of our March 24th meeting were pre-circulated. Motion on the minutes? Okay, Tom and Lori? Okay. Okay, any addition, deletion, correction? All in favor? Everyone, to the opposed, carried? And first application this evening is for 115 Kensington.
Side yard and resulting in it being 1.2 meters from the northerly side lot line. The existing dwelling and accessory structure are to be demolished. The subject property is designated residential in the official plan and zoned R2 in zoning bylaw 2065. The following comments were received. Public Works and Engineering Services has no comments regarding the minor variance. Building Department, an engineered lot grading plan will be required at the time of permit application. Fire Department, no concerns with the application. IRCA, the property owner will be required to obtain an approval from IRCA prior to any construction or site alteration. No objection to the application. Essex Power had no comments. The following public comments were received. Written correspondence has been received from 3 property owners. The concerns noted in each correspondence is summarized, with the complete correspondence being provided to the Committee of Adjustment members. 123 Kensington Boulevard. The concerns noted in the correspondence are related to loss of natural light between the dwellings, creation of ventilation and moisture management between the dwellings, fire safety of the dwellings being too close to each other, and reduction in property values. 109 Kensington Boulevard. The concerns noted are as follows. Proposed dwelling looks too large for the property and will impact privacy and sunlight. If the new dwelling is constructed at a reduced setback, their driveway, which runs along the mutual side lot line, will be shaded year-round and may be regularly iced during winter months, causing a hazard. Potential damage to existing tree vegetation located on their property during construction of the proposed dwelling. An approving application will create a precedent and lead to overcrowding and change in the community character. 105 Kensington Boulevard. The concerns noted in the correspondence are related to changing the desirability of the area, water runoff from the property because existing homes are built lower, at a lower elevation than what the new homes need to be based on IRCA regulation. Accuracy of site plan provided as survey stakes are not visible on the subject property, and the scale on the scale on the sketch appears to be incorrect. New development should respect or consider the existing taxpayers of the surrounding area. Thank you. The community character. 105.
Thank you very much, Donna.
The concerns
So at this point, when we have these hearings, I usually ask the proponent if there's anything that you'd like to add besides what was in your report.
Based on IRCA regulation.
I do have a letter that I'd like to read if possible.
Site plan provided.
Is that one, had you sent it to us already?
No,
The scale.
Sure.
I didn't realize, Donna, I had to send that to you, but I'll send it to you after.
Well,
Okay.
it's easier for us.
Yes, for sure. Okay. Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Holly Fowler and this is my husband, Mike Fowler. And we are here to ask for a minor variance at 115 Kensington Boulevard in St. Clair Beach.
So at this point-
We are here to express our reasoning for the minor variance application pertaining to the above referenced property. The request seeks approval for minor relief from the existing zoning bylaw provisions in order to facilitate the construction of a new two-story single-family dwelling that we plan to call home. This proposed home has been thoughtfully designed and aligns with the town's of Tecumseh's official plan. In addition, it will complement the character and charm of the surrounding neighborhood while providing modern, functional living space for our family. We are looking to build our forever home and watch our kids grow up in the neighborhood we grew up in. The intent is not to overdevelop the lot, but rather to make efficient and tasteful use of the property, consistent with the evolving nature of residential development in the area, and to stay consistent with the province's initiative to build more homes. By constructing a new home on the existing property, we are efficiently using the land. We are directing growth to designated urban area where full municipal services are available, thereby preserving agricultural lands and natural resources. The current home on the property is a one-bedroom home and we are a family of 4. Our proposed design falls under the allotted building envelope for the property and meets the height allowance. If you look anywhere else in Tecumseh, the bylaws allow for 4 to 5 foot side yards for the 2-story homes. There have also been other properties in St. Clair Beach that have been granted 5 foot side yards for 2-story homes, including 457 Arlington, 385 Kensington, and 366 Edgewater. We believe the requested variance is reasonable and will not result in any adverse impacts on the neighboring properties. Rather, it will contribute positively to the overall streetscape and enhance the long-term vitality of this community. We respectfully request the committee's favorable consideration to this application and thank you in advance for your time and attention to this matter. Proposed design falls under the allotted.
Okay, thank you very much.
We do have a list of signatures as well from neighbors in the area that I'd like to share as well. I'll just give them to you.
Yeah, just bring them up, give them to Donna.
That have been granted 5 foot side yards for 2-story homes, including 457 Arlington, 385 Kensington, and 366 Edgewater. We believe the requested variance is reasonable and will not result in any adverse impacts on the neighborhood.
Council, does the presentation raise any questions from the committee that they want to ask? Lori?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I can actually have a housekeeping question. There is some background noise and it's very distracting. I don't know where the sound is coming from, if it's someone's laptop.
Yeah, I'd like to share it. I'll just give them to you.
Yeah, just bring them up, give them to Donna.
That have been granted 5 foot side yards for 2-story homes, including 457.
We're just gonna check a technical thing here. No, it's gone. Presentation raised any questions from the committee? Okay, go ahead. Lori?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If I can actually have a housekeeping question. There is some background noise and it's very distracting. I don't know where the sound is coming from, if it's someone's laptop.
Yeah, I'd like to share it. I'll just give them to you.
Yeah, just bring them up, give them to Donna. We're just gonna.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just try to focus here on my questions. Okay, so a question to administration, if we can
No,
be
it's-
walk through the application, just for confirmation, I did receive the report and reviewed it at length. The dwelling that was or is going to be demolished or was recently demolished on the property, Housekeeping can you describe the question. difference in There is the some background noise and it's very distracting. I don't know where
In-
the sound is coming from. Difference in the setbacks, just so we can compare what the variance between the existing and what's being proposed. Thank you.
We're just gonna.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just try to focus here on my questions. Okay, so a question to it.
Through Mr. Chair,
You walk
um,
through
the northerly side yard of the existing dwelling,
Can I suggest you get right on the mic?
the dwelling that was or is going to be demolished or was recently demolished on the property. Can you describe the difference in the
so,
difference in
Mr. Chair, the
setbacks?
northerly side yard
What
of the existing dwelling is 7 feet,
difference between the
and they're asking for 6, sorry, sorry,
okay. Focus
on the
here.
northerly, okay?
So,
And on the south side, I believe it's 10, I will confirm that in a second, but they're asking for 6.1 southerly side yard. In addition, on the northerly side yard, there's a chimney encroachment. Now, chimneys are permitted to encroach 3 feet into the required side yard. The required side yard in this case, in accordance with the bylaw, is 9 feet. That would mean that the chimney could encroach to a point 6 feet from the lot line. But they're asking that it encroach into that from the wall that is 5.6 feet back, which means it would be 4.1 feet from the northerly side lot line. On the northerly?
So furthermore, my question is pertaining to, just to confirm, the existing dwelling was already
Southerly side.
in non-compliance of the current zoning bylaw, correct?
That is correct. Encroachment. Now, chimneys are permitted to encroach.
In terms of setbacks only, side yard setbacks.
Required side yard in this case, in accordance with the. That's correct, yes. The northerly side yard the northerly minimum side yard to be specific, Mr. Chair. We're asking that it encroach into that from the wall that is 5.6. Mr. Chair, if I may just interject, the southerly side yard currently is 12 feet from the northerly side lot line.
You done?
Furthermore, one more, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so the intent of the side yard setbacks is to ensure that there's ample space to maintain essentially the rear yard. The sense of open space from reviewing will be maintained, and there will still be access to that rear yard for maintenance and operation purposes. I'm wondering, however, the existing footprint or the existing dwelling, why, I guess, what are the limitations in terms of your home design? Why were you not able to work within the existing layout as currently in existence?
The main reason is we're a family of 4. The current home that's there is a 1-bedroom.
One more.
The other thing is for our family, we're requesting, or we would like to have a 2-car garage. The garage right now is currently at the back of the home, and we would like to have an attached garage.
If I may clarify, not so much the existing dwelling, but the footprint. So I guess, why weren't you able to work within the existing footprint?
I think the answer to that would be the fact that we're going to be adding a garage.
The existing footprint or the existing dwelling, why, I guess, what are the limitations in home design?
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the lot coverage, does it fall within the 40%?
The current that there is a 1-bedroom.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, the lot coverage is 36.9%. We verified that the allowable lot coverage for this zone is 40%.
An attached garage.
If I make.
Anybody else? Question? Tony?
Through you, Mr. Chair, my question to the applicant, have you already applied to the Conservation Authority?
Thank you.
And if so, have they informed you of how much higher, or will the new house be at the existing grade level?
We have not applied for that yet. We're waiting to see how the minor variance goes before we move ahead with that. But obviously to build, we will have to comply with anything that requires.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, the.
Yeah, we'll likely have some other questions or suggestions about that later on in the meeting. Anything else? Anybody? You'll get another chance, guys, so. Anybody else? Question? So we have 3 written submissions,
Applicant, have you already?
and I
applied
think
for
those people are
conservation
here.
And if so, have.
So what do we
they
go with?
informed you of How
Who's
much
first?
higher, or will the new house be at the existing grade level?
We have not applied for that yet. We're waiting to see how the minor variance goes before we move ahead with that, but obviously to build, we will comply with anything that are
Go with one
Inquire,
twenty-three
require.
Kensington and when the order.
Yeah, we'll likely have some other questions. 123 Kensington? There's somebody here from there? Anything else? Sorry, anybody? You'll get another chance, guys.
My stepfather.
So we have 3 written submissions,
I reside in that.
and I
house,
think
but I'm not
those
the
people are
mayor, so
here.
I just-
If so,
Make
So
sure
where do we
that
go
that
with-
letter was-
We didn't get any- Well, we've got the letter, so you weren't given any instructions about what to say, if anything? Okay, all right, okay. And the committee knows that we have that in our package, right? Okay. Second one is Kensington?
109 Kensington.
109 Kensington. Can, just a sec, come on up. Come on up. Please.
I reside in that.
And I
house,
think
but I'm not
those
the
people are
mayor,
here.
so I-
And
Make sure that
I'm
that
still
letter-
getting used to the mic, so don't feel bad. So.
Well, I am concerned myself about, we have a big oak tree
Right.
and it's 40 years old. It's about 5 feet
The committee knows that we have that in our package.
in our property.
Okay.
And if they build a house, it's gonna be really close to the tree. And
Kensington?
as far as I know,
Can-
oak trees
Come on up.
need to be 15 to
Come on up.
20 feet from any dwelling.
Please.
Because if you cut the roots and if you cut the branches, the tree will die
They're used to the mic, so.
and it could be falling on either their house or our house. Is dangerous. And so what we do about that, we are not cutting it down.
Committee knows.
So what do you suggest doing? And if they build a house.
Okay.
It's gonna be a really.
I stopped by there today and I saw the oak tree and
Yeah.
I saw the asphalt on top of the roots on the north side of it,
Yeah.
your driveway, I guess.
Yeah. It's
But I'm
very
not,
close.
I'm not an arborist, but Chad has done some investigation with an arborist.
Either their house. or our
Don't
house.
give me.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Chair, I've spoken to the town's arborist about this. Ultimately, it's a civil matter between neighbors, but because the applicants are asking for an exception, reduction in the side yard, the committee may want to consider as a condition, having the applicants, having the applicants retain an arborist to make recommendations with respect to measures that can be taken to ensure during construction that the tree is protected as well as it can be, and to, and to recommend mitigative measures for, any potential impact that might come from construction. But it is ultimately a civil matter. And there's recourse for property owners who feel that their tree has been damaged by their neighbors. Committee may want to consider as a condition.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about trees on the border, which those are the ones that are the hard ones.
An arborist to
Because
make recommendations.
It's not their tree, but it's your tree, but they can't damage it. They can't cut limbs off of it.
Can be,
So
and to recommend measures.
just so the committee knows how that sits, that
Any potential
issue.
impact that might come from construction, but it is ultimately.
Anything else?
Well, the house goes, that far. if it would go, if the house would be closer, bit like smaller, maybe it wouldn't matter, but we feel that the house is way too big for that property.
Trees on the border. Well, we don't have any limits in our bylaws in terms of how big a house you can build, except how high you can build and what the footprint is.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
They can't damage it. Okay, but we hear you. So,
And so other than that, I don't know.
just so the committee knows.
Could I-
Well, we'll give them a chance. I want to get to the people who have actually sent a letter in though, first.
Yes, is there going to be a retaining wall that would make it even smaller, that, you know, because if the,
You heard the question about ERCA.
oh, they have to come and,
Well, that retaining wall would be required if water is gonna go on other people's property. And there's no way to have a drain or a
Alright.
ditch or something. Okay. But we hear you. They will probably be required to put retaining wall to keep the water on their property. Well, we'll give them. And to their drain to the road. So that's the way that works.
so that's how much higher the property is going to be.
I have no idea. You'll have
You
to
have no
ask
idea.
ERCA.
Yeah, okay.
That's one of those ones we can't solve tonight.
Yeah, well. Well, we would obviously,
Heard the question about
uh,
ERCA.
we would like if they
Well,
do 9 feet as it's
retaining
supposed to
wall
be
required-
instead of 5. And
Okay.
I know you said the old house is 7 feet right now, except the house was built in 1900s or 1920s, so there was no bylaw then. I don't think.
They didn't build houses that big then either.
And yeah, and there was no they had different bylaws.
Right, okay.
Okay.
We'll get somebody else up?
Okay.
123?
One of-
That's one of those. We did one slide.
No, we did this one, and this.
Well, we would
25.
obviously-
105, Kensington? 105?
No, I'm actually 110 Essex Beach Line.
9 feet as it's
Be-
supposed to be
Okay,
instead of 5.
I have a letter from 105. I wanted to get the ones that wrote a letter in.
Okay, 105 will not be attending this evening.
1900s,
She's ill.
1920s, so
Okay.
there was-
All right,
I spoke with her.
we'll give you, you have permission. They didn't build
Thank you.
houses that big.
Thank you. Um, here's my concern.
Okay.
Now, reading through the letter that actually came from the town and the Committee of Adjustment, it seems to me that this is a done deal. It's an awfully big house on quite a small lot. But my concern extends that, so I guess I've got just a couple of questions. There have been a number of houses that have changed hands recently along Kensington. And I know that right now, one of them is sitting empty. Another one is being rented temporarily. And I suspect you're going to have more applications of tearing down the original houses and putting up larger houses. It seems to me that this is a done deal. If this is going to be an ongoing trend, is there any plan to update the infrastructure in the village? There have been a number of houses that have.
What particular infrastructure are you worried about?
Well, we've not gotten through a winter without, for instance, the water main having broken.
Okay.
And, you know, they have to dig up the street and all of that. And here's the other issue. You're talking to a woman who, I bought my current home. Quite frankly, my family moved to St. Clair Beach in 1950. So I'm a long-term resident. The house that I'm living in, we purchased in 1994. There were a number of new larger houses that went up on Rutland.
Infrastructure are you worried about?
In 2000, I believe it was 2010, I had 3.5 feet of water in my basement. And, you know, they have supposedly that issue was fixed. And then again, in 2016, I had over 2 feet of water in my basement. And I know the town is working on the pumps and what have you, but we have 100-year-old systems.
Okay, so my short answer to that, that's not what this meeting is for.
No,
And there have been lots of meetings about flooding along Riverside Drive and up a few streets, right? All the way through.
right.
And I'm sure council is working on that, but that's not for the Committee of Adjustment.
I understand. My concern is that we see the outline of the house. There's going to have to be a cement driveway. By the design of the house, it also looks like there's going to be a patio in back.
The,
Is there enough permeable surface to support this?
if there isn't, when they come to get, if there isn't, lots of meetings, water can get off the lot two ways. One, it can go down,
Mhm.
and one, the surface water can be directed to a drain to the ditch out to the lake. So one of those two ways, but when they take out their building permit, they will look at the height of the property, the height of the properties next to it, see if there's anything needs to be done to make sure that that water doesn't go there, but goes out to the drain at the front.
Mhm.
Okay, it's just stormwater management. It's one of the conditions as recommended, I believe. Yes, okay. One of the conditions on their approval will be that they have to satisfy the building department about that.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Who's the, oh, she's not, so the other lady's not gonna be here, she's, okay. Anybody else want to speak on this? Your name and address, please?
Stuart Bruce, 125 Rutland.
Okay.
So for full disclosure, I was here 18 years ago looking for a variance as well, which was granted. We have a 7-foot side yard. But what we did is we actually moved our house over so we could protect 3 mature trees down the west side. So that was the main purpose of it. I understand that everybody wants to build whatever house they want to build, and I understand that the only piece that the adjustment committee has is the footprint. But as I sat through the fourplex meetings, and I'm a big proponent of increased densification, we built on an empty lot within an existing neighborhood. But I think if you want to be able to keep, town has a great opportunity to keep the integrity of neighborhoods. You know, it took us well over a year to design our house because we had a weird shaped lot, we had trees, wanted to keep the front very interesting, so we kept the garage at the back. So I think the applicants are right that it seems like every variance that has been applied for in the last 15 years has been granted, which means I don't understand why we have rules if everyone is going to be overridden without, and I could be wrong, but there seems to be almost everyone, at least in our neighborhood, that has been approved or adjusted and then approved. So I think as you look at increased densification of not just single family homes, but as the multifamily homes, I've got a couple multifamily homes within eyesight of us. If we can start looking at being creative with the solutions, with the houses that are coming in, to actually keep some of those side yard offsets, push a little bit back in the backyard, maybe a little bit more in the second story. I think it'd be doing wonderful things, especially I agree that you're going to see Kensington be turned over quite a bit over the next number of years, just because of the wonderful street that it is. It'd be great to see that the town looks at keeping that integrity of the community. You know, maybe it stays at 7 feet where the existing house is. Something creative both on the town side as well as the applicant side from an architecture perspective. Thank you.
I just, the only comment I have is Riverside Drive looks a lot different than it did 40 years ago.
That is true.
If you drive down there, those are not the houses that were there 40 years ago, so.
I understand, but
Change happens and people decide what they want.
I
Okay.
understand. That's why I'm saying I'm not saying build whatever kind of house you want, but you've got a footprint.
Yeah.
Do your darndest to try to stay within that footprint.
All right. Thank you. You got all this info? Okay. Anybody else wanna? You know the routine now.
Well, I had to put my hand up first. My name is Myron Rivard. I used to live in that house, but it was my mom's house. And the one thing I had, if you raise the property level up, because it is low in that area, besides, both houses, water's gonna flow one way or the other. But if you put a retaining wall, that's also gonna affect the trees that are on the north side of the wall of the property as well. Because Yana was saying how you gotta watch out for the root system on the trees. And if you have to build a retaining wall, that's gotta go down so far too to maintain its integrity so it doesn't fall over.
Yeah, you're right.
And the other thing is too, like this other gentleman said, is the street, one of the things that makes it a street that people like is the fact that the houses are built within a certain limit of the guidelines that's been set for years. My dad used to be on council when it was St. Clair Beach years ago. And they had these bylaws there so the houses would be uniform. It didn't mean the houses had to be identical, cookie cutters of each other, but they had the lot sizes and the recommendations for the footprints and that
Yeah.
was so that the communities would have a nice feel to it. And you can build, anything you want, but then it's gonna make the neighborhood look strange. Like you said, Riverside Drive is different from what it was before. Cause in the early fifties and stuff, it was mostly cottages that it started out as. And then the house that's there now was the original pro shop for Beach Grove. So it's got some historical value to it as well. So
If you're a golfer, I suppose.
I guess that's it for me.
Anyway, thank you. Anybody else? Seeing nobody. Okay. Based on those questions, do council now have questions or committee now have questions? Tony?
I've got one question that's kind of thinking out of the box, and I don't think it's one that we've ever done. If the applicants are required to put in a retaining wall that significantly alters the grade of that lot, is there any way to put a condition that the surface runoff on the adjacent properties would have to be taken care of?
So through Mr. Chair, I wanted to clarify before, trying to respond to that question. The retaining wall may be necessary to meet the minimum elevations that IRCA establishes as well, not just for water runoff. It likely will have to be raised to meet IRCA's minimum elevation. So probably looking at a retaining wall, not certain, but that has been the experience in this low-lying area. And I think that it goes beyond the scope of what we could impose as a condition to have a landowner take care of the runoff on an abutting property as a result. I've never heard of it being done before. I understand why you're trying to think outside of the box to make sure that they're not impacted, but I don't think that is within the confines of what the committee is charged with doing. Yeah.
Doug? You were looking pensive there a little bit ago, so. Anybody else? Anybody else? Lori?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Could the applicant or administration answer this question for me, please? It's in relation to the encroachment of, excuse me, the fireplace, I believe it is, encroaching into the required yard. Is it one or the other, or do they come hand in hand? In other words, without the fireplace, is the fireplace on the side of one of the side yards and then the other side yard setback, or the variance is required for the garage or the expanded house? In other words, just give me kind of some context to this site plan that was before us. Where is the fireplace encroaching? Is it the same side yard that is seeking a variance into 7 feet, or is it the opposite side?
Again, through you, Mr. Chair, the fireplace is proposed on the northerly side wall, so it's encroaching into the northerly side yard, and you can see it. I don't know if you can see my cursor up there. What is that? So this is the fireplace. Yeah. And you can see that it's encroaching into that required northerly side yard.
So thank you. Furthermore, so in other words, the fireplace encroachment is regardless of whether or not the fireplace encroaches, there still requires a variance of that required side yard along the northerly towards the north. Okay, so we're looking at, if I may term them as 3 variances, 2 variances for a side yard on either side of the dwelling, and then a variance for the encroachment of the fireplace, correct? Okay. Question on the fireplace to the applicant. Is the fireplace proposed to be gas or natural?
It's going to be gas.
Okay, if I can make note, lastly, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. Neither the fire department nor the building department have identified these proposed minor variances as being of issue or any concern. I also note that Public Works has not either objected to these variances. A thorough review is completed internally as well as with agencies as applicable, such as IRCA in this case. The application before us, we do not take lightly as a committee. We look at something called the 4 tests of a minor variance under the official plan, the zoning bylaw, of course, the PPS and other policies that bind us as a committee. And so rest assured that we put every application individually through these tests. It's not a one size fits all. We look at every application individually, and I hope that residents can trust that it is not just because this minor variance, is being proposed, that means all lots within the neighborhood will look differently. So thank you for that to the applicant, to administration for helping us understand, as well as to the residents for your comments and in helping us see on the ground as well as the concerns that you've raised. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? So, Tom?
Yes, through your chair, just to the applicant, I understand, you've 4 people in the house and you want to maximize the square footage. Have you considered alternatives to build within and expand to the west, backyard, to make up some square footage?
Well, at that point, we'd be running into more issues with the tree in the backyard. Because as of right now, we're at the same level as their house goes back. So if we go further back, then we're getting into more issues with the tree, the oak tree in the backyard also. So.
And also we have 2 young boys that love playing outside. So keeping the backyard as large as possible was very important to us. And we actually took the square feet down from 3,700 square feet to what is proposed now.
Thank you.
Any kaput? You done? Anybody else? Okay, so we've asked all our questions. The one thing in the recommendation, there was a recommended condition that the applicant provide a report by a qualified arborist assessing the risk and recommending mitigative steps to be taken during construction to ensure the protection of the mature trees. So, do you have any problem with that condition? The other one is one that isn't in the recommendation, but it's one that was asked by the building department. And I'm not sure that we need to do this, but maybe we should, because of the questions, we should make sure that an engineered lot grading plan be required at the time of permit application. that should get our building department involved in making sure that you're gonna get to keep the water on your lot and not cause problems for others. Okay. So I would suggest that if you wanted to make a motion, those would be the two conditions that two extra conditions, I guess, for other, plus the usual ones.
Mr. Chair, one more, one of the residents had said that they didn't feel they got a proper diagram to scale. Is that something we could ask that could make sure that they feel that they've properly seen what's going to happen and feel comfortable with it?
Go ahead.
Thank you for raising that question through, Mr. Chair. When the scale is not a bar scale, but I think it's called a ratio scale. Whenever you copy or shrink that so that you can provide it as part of the committee's package, it's going to impact it. It doesn't make any sense anymore. But the sketch associated with the notice and the application does have the dimensions on it, directly on it. So yeah, you cannot use that scale to try and determine other distances within it because it's been altered. But it's something we'll consider in terms of future sketches. Maybe they provide a bar scale that is accurate. Thank you.
You're good? Okay. So I suggested a motion. Doug? Yep.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we bring forward for approval AO 625 115 Kensington, request for relief on a zoning bylaw 2065. Also with that, I would like to see, as we discussed, application that we did for the arborist to be brought in to make sure the tree is dealt with properly to keep it alive. Also, I'd like to add that the engineering department, a lot grading applicant plan. I do believe it meets the 4 tests. I find these are hard to bring forward, but I did walk the street to the south, noticed there was some new development, larger homes, and they did fit in the area. I thought they did a good job. It meets the 4 tests, and I think that's the way things go, are going now. The houses are bigger and people are wanting more space for their family. So I feel confident I'd like to bring that forward for an approval.
Okay, moved by Doug. Worded by Laurie. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Carried. That's good. Not bad, that's good. Okay, thank you very much. And thanks to the audience for being patient with us. But we did listen to you. Okay, so the next application is Charlene Lane. Somebody here for that one? There you go. Are you Mr. Garno?
My name's Chris Garno, and this is my wife, Carla. Thank you for hearing us tonight.
Okay. Donna's going to read the application, then we'll get into it.
Application for minor variance AO 725, Christopher Garno, 2040 Charlene Lane. The purpose of the application is to request relief from subsection 5.27.1G of zoning bylaw 85-18, which establishes that accessory buildings shall not be located within 1.5 meters of the main building. The applicant is proposing to construct a 23.8 square meter open roofed accessory structure, a distance of 0.68 meters from the main building as depicted on the sketch. The proposed accessory structure will be placed onto the existing deck that is located on the property, which is associated with the existing pool. In addition, the applicant is seeking relief for 2 existing accessory structures, one being a 5.9 square meter greenhouse and the second being an 8.4 square meter shed, both of which are 1 meter from the main building. The subject property is designated residential in the Tecumseh official plan and zoned R1 in zoning bylaw 85-18. The following comments. Public Works and Engineering have no comments regarding the variance. Building Department has no concerns with the application. Fire Department has no concerns with the application. IRCA indicated it's not located within a regulated area and has no objection to the application. Essex Power has no comments. Thank you.
We can't see that light, that's the problem. Uh, Thanks, Donna. So as with the last application, I ask if you have anything else you think the committee needs to know besides what you've given us in writing already?
Just one minor correction though, and I apologize to Donna that I didn't catch it earlier. The gazebo that we're proposing to build will be part of deck construction as well. That permit has been put in for. We didn't realize about the difference between, or the space that was required between the house and the structure when we first applied and designed it and had the blueprints made. But the gazebo will be part of a newly constructed deck as well.
It's not on top of an existing one, that's what you're saying?
No.
Right, okay.
There was one there, but we demolished it, and so we're pretty much starting from scratch.
Okay.
I've made some notes, or I can just answer questions from the committee. It's this is our first time doing this, so.
If you have something you think we need to know, let us know it now.
Just essentially, our lots on Charlene are very wide. They're beautiful lots. They're 94 feet wide, but they're not extremely deep. We were trying to also kind of minimize the cost on the deck. In order to put it a full 5 feet from the structure, we would need to go another 3-4 feet deeper with the deck structure, which would increase the cost substantially. So that we've designed it as is. Blue Water Pools is a pretty well-known builder. They are doing the construction element. We think it's going to be a very nice structure. I think it will enhance the neighborhood. We have no rear neighbors, so there were no neighbor concerns. I have one next door neighbor, Kamal Dahal, who signed off. I brought him around the site and showed him everything. And
What's his street address? You know?
2034 Charlene Lane. So that's our neighbor on the north side. He had no concerns whatsoever. Obviously, there's a farm field behind us, so no rear neighbors. And our south side neighbors, unfortunately, the house has been vacant for a while. One of the owners passed away, and the lady's in a nursing home now. So, and between our houses as well, there's a huge 15-foot cedar hedge. They can't even really see into our yard at all. So I guess that's addressing the gazebo. As far as the shed and the greenhouse, it was built in the 90s according to some other neighbors in the neighborhood that we spoke with. So I can't really speak to the shed beyond saying it's a pretty key part of our backyard. All of our pool equipment is installed within it. So we're hoping, we definitely like to keep that. Anyways, we think, looking on Google Maps, the neighborhood's 30 years old now. People have, taken some flexibility in terms of what's been built, and I think it fits the neighborhood. I think it's a pretty expensive overall project. I think it will enhance our home and definitely won't detract from the neighborhood at all.
The only question, I had one, pardon me, committee. I have one question. What's the construction of the roof? What's it like? What's it look like?
It'll be a shingled roof.
Shingled roof?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be nice. It's fully, even like it's all the posts will be clad. It will look very nice.
Okay. No, I was thinking of one of those pergola ones, but
No, this is a custom design structure that will be integrated into the construction of the deck as
you
well.
want to keep the rain off.
Absolutely, and the sun, yes.
Okay. Committee. Any questions for this applicant? Tom?
Through your chair, is it an open structure? It's not closed in, it's not like a room.
No, it'll be a fully open structure. I'm not sure, did building give you the prints?
No.
Okay, could I show you? Is that okay?
Sure. He asked the question, it's his fault.
That's probably looking Basically looking west from.
So it's picture. You're gonna fill the pool with this water?
Yep. It'll have guys.
I'm just being a smart aleck. Good shit. Anybody else? Doug?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I'll ask my favorite question to administration, the lot coverage.
Through Mr. Chair, it complies with the lot coverage. Yeah. Just for the committee's information, when we get applications in, the first thing we do is to look over the proposals in the context of the bylaw to make sure that all the other provisions of the bylaw are met. So, but just, for certainty, it does meet the lot coverage. No, I just wanted to let you know, sorry.
It's the one you don't ask that's the problem, Doug.
Yeah, that's it.
Larry?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So just to confirm with administration, we're looking at a new variance for a gazebo instead of the required 5 feet from, or approximately 5 feet from the main dwelling. It's proposed to be just over 2 feet away from the main dwelling, but we're also, we'll say, recognizing an existing shed and greenhouse that's already 3.2 feet from the main dwelling, correct? Okay.
You don't want us to ask you to put them in the front yard? Those sheds?
I'd really prefer not. That just won't look good. I don't think that will fit the neighborhood.
Okay. No, probably not.
Thank you. Furthermore, Mr. Chair, we do recognize in our review that the rear yard is quite shallow. Just wanted to confirm, however, that when we approve, or if we approve this minor variance, it's recognizing existing structures that are already there in addition to a proposed minor variance for a new structure.
Yes, through Mr. Chair, I hope I've understood the question correctly. Lori, it's, they're applying to get relief for the gazebo structure, which is too close to the dwelling, proposed gazebo structure. There are two smaller accessory structures that are too close to the main dwelling already. And rather than move them, they've asked for relief. And that's something we picked up in the review. And we thought, because given the size and their location and the relative location to neighboring properties and structures, we thought that was supportable.
I think the difficulty is that it's not specifically mentioned in the recommended motion, so we'll make sure it's in there. Make sure it's in there when you make the motion. No. Yeah, yeah. Yes, what you asked for, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Anything else? Nothing? So we make a motion. Somebody, Laurie?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For application A-07-25 for 2040 Charlene Lane, it is in my opinion that the minor variance for not only the proposed structure, but also for the existing structures to remain on the property do meet the 4 tests of a minor variance under the Planning Act. The minor variances meet the intent of the OP zoning bylaw and I believe are desirable for the development and for the use of this particular property, and therefore believe that the variance is minor. Move to approve.
Supported by Doug? Any further question? All in favor? Opposed, carried, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Donna.
Application for minor variance AO8 25 Anthony Thomas, 1837 Les Bronx Road. The purpose of the application is to request relief from the following subsections of zoning bylaw 85-18. Subsection 5.27.1 DI, which establishes that accessory buildings in residential zones shall not exceed 10% of the total lot area or 90 square meters in area whichever is lesser, and no individual accessory building or structure shall exceed 70 square meters in area. Subsection 5.27.1 EI, which establishes that accessory buildings in residential zones shall not exceed 4.57 meters in height. The applicant is proposing to construct a 108.5 square meter accessory building, 29.7 square meters of which consists of an opened roof overhang. The proposed structure has a height of 5.33 meters. Two of the existing garden sheds will be removed. However, one 24.3 square meter garden shed will remain on the property. This will result in a combined area of 115.9 square meters for all accessory structures. The subject property is designated residential in the official plan and R1 in zoning bylaw 85-18. The following comments were received. Public Works and Engineering has no comments regarding the minor variance. ERCA, the site is not located within a regulated area. No objection to the application. Building Department has no concerns with the application. Fire Department has no concerns. No comments from Essex Power. Public comments from the resident at 1834 St. Anne Street. Provided correspondence earlier today indicating that the drainage, so I'll just read this. The property and surrounding properties experience spring flooding, sometimes minor and sometimes major, depending on the year. Adding a building in this area of flooding could result in water spreading to neighboring properties rather than draining onto the open soil. Sunlight access, the accessory building is likely to reduce the sunlight access of the neighboring south and west properties where established gardens exist. Privacy, building in the back corner of the property with the workspace 10 feet from the back fence is likely to reduce privacy given that the chain link fence divides the property. Given the potential impact that the additional height and square footage of the accessory building would have on the above, the person writing the letter spoke to Marcus Cutter, who signed a document with Anthony Thomas, was collecting neighborhood signatures indicating that it would be accepting of Mr. Thomas's application for a minor variance conditional upon Mr. Thomas complying with the following in order to reduce the negative impacts as mentioned. So the drainage, Mr. Thomas agreed to install an adequate drainage system to reduce the drainage impact on the building. Accessory in the space would not have on the neighboring properties. Mr. Thomas will amend his plan of building 20 feet from the back fence line to 25 feet from the back fence line to provide additional opportunity for sunlight. And Mr. Thomas was to plant a row of cedar trees between his open roof overhang workspace and the back fence to decrease the impact of the reduced privacy on the bordering property. Mr. Thomas verbally agreed to these conditions and acknowledged that our acceptance of the application for the minor variance hinges on fulfilling these conditions. This email is simply to provide the Town of Tecumseh Committee of Adjustment context for our acceptance of the application. And this is from Marcus Cutler and Holly Stack Cutler.
Were you aware of that letter?
As of today, yes.
And is it substantially correct?
Yes. Well, we didn't discuss drainage, but the building will have eaves troughs and
Well,
proper drainage.
You heard the discussion here tonight about drainage, so
Sure did.
it will apply to you.
That's not a problem at all.
Okay. Otherwise, you're okay with what they say you agreed to?
Yep, that's no problem at all. And I did talk to them and have that conversation.
I'm curious about the distance from the back lot line. What is going to be 25 feet from the back lot line.
The back of the building. So
Okay,
as of now, the back of the building is 20 feet from the lot line. They asked if I could maybe move it 4 feet or 5 feet forward
Right.
towards the road.
yeah, I wasn't sure if it was the edge of the overhang that they were talking about or, okay. As long as they know that they have the same thinking. Any questions from the committee? Thomas?
Yeah, your mic is on there.
Chair.
To you, Chair, to the applicant, I'm struggling to understand. I just want to kind of get a picture in my mind of how this roof line, there's an open roof line, like, the only thing I have to go on is the plan view. It shows a porch, kind of a roof to the back fence, or?
Yeah, I just kind of want an overhang. So let's just say it's raining. I can do anything I need to out there.
But it's open to the back fence, not to the,
Correct. On the rear side of the building. Just so I'm not seen by everyone in the front doing whatever I'm doing. Right, let's say I'm tinkering around with my lawnmower or something and I'm out there pulling for an hour. I don't have everyone watching me struggle.
okay, and the purpose of the shed is
The garage.
the building?
Yeah, I just want to have somewhere to park my vehicles and for storage.
Okay,
I've always had a garage. I've always parked my vehicles inside. I have one vehicle that I haven't even brought to my house yet because it only stays inside a garage. It doesn't get driven in the winter, sort of thing.
okay, and so there's garage doors to Lesperance, and then
And just maybe like a man door
to the,
out
to the
the back.
west.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And a driveway?
Yes, a driveway.
Through you, Mr. Chair, just on what Tom, so that back part, is it like a lean-to? With open?
That's correct. Open sides.
Okay. And through you, Mr. Chair, the letter of agreement is that binding? Is he held to that?
It's part of the record of this meeting and we can make a condition that what he does complies with what's in that letter, since he's agreed to it here.
Yeah, and I just moved into this house. I want no bad blood with anyone. I told them, I said, whatever you guys need, it's not an issue. And I don't think what they requested was really too far off at all. I think it was very reasonable.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Can we get some confirmation from administration that if the proposed accessory structure does indeed move closer to the dwelling or towards Lesperance, are there any other variances that could be required? Should we be reviewing this, I guess, furthermore? 4 feet, if I understand, 5 feet difference? So in other words, does it cause any other variances?
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, it doesn't. In fact, this is a relatively large lot. There's lots of room to move the building throughout the rear yard and still comply with the bylaw.
You're hiding over there.
I try. I'll make a motion that we accept minor variance application A0825. It does meet the 4 test. It's minor in nature. The applicant has worked with the adjacent homeowners to satisfy any issues that could come up in during the construction of this application. So it's for those reasons that I will make a motion to accept this, and with a condition of grading, obviously.
Yeah, can we add the condition along with the agreement that they had with the neighbors, just so it's on the record as well? In the letter today.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask Donna if, when she writes this up, she can include that. Or
Along with the 2 conditions that are listed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just so I have clarification, because the application requested that the structure be or it indicated that the structure, the lean-to part was 10 feet from the back property line. Now we're talking 20 to 25 feet for the lean-to, so now we're talking 20, but the application and the sketch,
They're talking about the back of the building, not the back of the overhang.
okay, so
The back wall of the building, which is currently 20 feet away from the property line. They just want the whole structure moved 5 feet forward towards L'Esperance Road. So the overhang would be 15 feet from the property line and the back of the building would be 25 feet
Thank
from
you.
the back of the property line.
Thank you for the clarification.
No problem. Thank you, Donna.
And then, so we're talking about two conditions. So we've moved the structure forward. Is the, second condition the drainage? And there's also a third condition on here, with respect to a row of cedar trees, so with respect to privacy, so
That is correct.
if the committee can provide me with clarity on the motion, please.
I, maybe it's easiest just to say, that the building be constructed in compliance with the agreement between Mr. Thomas and the neighbors. So anything that's in that letter we got, that's what they do. I think number two, suggested condition number two, the number just has to change. The 3 meters, 10 feet setback goes to 15.
That's correct.
That's to the edge of
Yes.
the lean-to or whatever. You're good? You're good? Okay. Okay, we have a motion. Did I get a seconder? Tom? Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Took you a while, but we got it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I also have a form here from all the neighbors that signed.
Oh, well, great. Thank you. Good night. And next we have nobody. Oh, yes, we do. Okay. I thought you were leaving. Okay.
Application for minor variance A0925 Real Estate Trust, Inc., 1620 Sylvester Drive. The purpose of the application is to request relief from subsection 9A.1.6, which establishes a minimum landscape open space of 20%. As a result of the expropriation of approximately 0.279 hectares of existing green space by the County of Essex to accommodate a future expansion of County Road 22, together with the proposed construction of a 1,721.4 square meter commercial building, the subject property will have a landscape open space totaling 3.1%. The subject property is designated Business Park in the official plan and zoned C3 in zoning bylaw 85-18. The following comments were received. Public Works has no comments regarding the requested minor variance and indicates they continue to work with the owner and its consultants regarding site servicing and stormwater management as part of the site plan control process in relation to the construction of the new building and parking areas at this address. Revised plans and stormwater management report that capture the proposed amendments must be submitted to Public Works for review and approval. No concerns from the building department, no concerns from fire. IRCA indicates that it's not in a regulated area and have no objection to the application. The County of Essex indicate that a permit will be required prior to any construction taking place, and they have no concerns with the application. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one question. Maybe we clear up quickly ahead of time. And is there any thought of site plan control on this property? There is. So it's just the green space that's the issue here. Okay. Okay. Anybody? Everybody hungry? I mean, ready? Say the quiet thing out loud. Everybody's hungry. Okay, Laurie?
Thank you. Okay, so you have no control on the land that's being expropriated by the county, understood. The land that's being expropriated for now will remain grassed until such time as County Road 22 is expanded. You don't know the timing, understood. I read that in the report. The project is subject to site plan control. I also read that the stormwater management report that's been submitted has not yet been accepted by the town. So my question is, if you know the answer, Chad and Enrico, I guess, would the reduction in landscaped area cause the stormwater management system, or proposed system, to, I guess, can they make it work? Or is it likely to be approved by the town? Can they work within the limits of that area to ensure that stormwater is managed on the property?
Yes, good question. And we anticipated that being asked. The preliminary stormwater management plan that has been reviewed by engineering doesn't raise any red flags. They're confident that they can meet the stormwater requirements. It may mean a little more surface storage or underground storage, but the removal of that landscaped open space, or the reduction in landscaped open space, won't impact the ability of the site to address stormwater management.
Furthermore, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you to the applicant. So you've probably been working with the engineering teams, both developers and the towns. So it may mean some creative solutions on site. Are you willing to work with the limits of the space that you have?
Yes, we were aware of the situation with the, removal of the, soft percolation area, and factored in the fact that we have to work with what we've got, which is an increased, hard surface area. So the engineering is aware of that, and they're working with a solution, either as underground storage or alternate solutions for storage. It is part of their plan, and the preliminary plan lends itself towards compliance. We're just working through the technical details.
Anybody else? I just had one thought. And we haven't had bad winters. But that's a lot of asphalt for that little dinky grass snow storage area. So, I mean, part of that green space can allow you to pile your snow up someplace, so.
Yeah, I would say that, even though that we don't know what's going to happen with that front area, but I would assume that they're not building the road up against the property. So there is going to be a maintenance of green space between our property line and what becomes the edge of the right of way, but the road isn't going to be at that point. So any snow pushed to the north will be in that general vicinity, which would happen, anyways, where you push beyond the property line sometimes. And then we have boundary areas along the perimeter. So, that I don't foresee that being a major issue.
Oh, that was the purpose of my question about site plan, so. All right, anybody else? Motion, somebody? Tony?
I will make a motion that we accept application A0925. Does seem to be minor in nature. It is for the expansion of County Road 22 in the future, which will be a necessary expansion. So for those conditions, for those reasons, I will make a motion that we accept this application. And it meets the fourth test.
Thank you, Larry. No deferrals, no unfinished business? Any new business? Adjournment? Tony? And Tom? All in favor? Opposed, carried. Thank you.